This is Ryan and Michelle, and welcome to the Celebrate Marriage Cast, where we hope to restore and reclaim godly marriages through honest and real conversations.
Welcome to episode 11, and we are Michelle and Ryan. It is great to be here with you today, and today we are talking about a stress-less Christmas because, let's face it, we know that the holidays can be stressful, right, Ryan? You have different dynamics, you have family dynamics, memories, maybe there's some memories of lost loved ones this time of year, so there's some sadness, there's, blended families, budgets, gifts, pressure to please family, and today we want to give you some ideas to help bring in less stress and more joy. So we have some ideas for communication, for budgets, and I counted them, Ryan. I have 36 gift ideas that I want to give to our listeners. 36.
That's amazing.
So I've pretty much done your holiday shopping for you.
Oh, sweet.
You're planning, so you're welcome. And we hope that this show brings you more joy and less stress so you can focus on the real reason for the season.
Absolutely. Guys, get your pens ready.
Unless you're driving.
Yeah. But yeah.
Get them ready.
Yeah. Yeah. So some tips and tricks for you here. First one, communicate.
Communication's everything.
Everything. But it is super important on the holidays because there's so much going on.
Yeah.
And I would say the first thing that you really want to talk about with your spouse, with your loved one, is your plans.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because holidays often bring about a lot of traveling, a lot of going here, going there, going to relatives' house. And I think the thing that's really important is to communicate that, to actually communicate the plans for the day and what that looks like. I learned that I think very early in our marriage.
Sure.
Of your family gets together every Christmas morning.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a plan, and I don't know if we had scheduled something else later that day. But anyway, this is something.
I think we had another Christmas to go to.
Yeah. I think so. And so we just hadn't communicated that. Mm-hmm. And, but it's super important to know, like, what your family plans are, like what traditions are, what things, so that when you go into the holidays, I'm not thinking, okay, we're going to open presents, we're going to eat, and then, we're off to something else.
Right. Because sometimes things just take longer too when you have a large group of people, and then there's impromptu games or things like that. So allowing maybe even more margin in the schedule to breathe and just really feel like you're not rushing from, now we got to go, we got to go to the next one.
Right. But it's really important to have those conversations,
up
front, so that so that we know, okay, hey, like this is what we typically do.
Yeah.
This is kind of what the day, to give margin in your day. That's so great. That's such a great point.
It goes back to the episode we did on mind reading too, especially if you're in a newer relationship or a blended family or newly married. It is important because you are entering a family with a lot of traditions and expectations that really do need to be vocalized, because how does your spouse know that otherwise?
Yeah.
You don't want to end up with sadness or frustration on those holidays.
Right. Right. Yeah. And it could have been avoided, knowing in advance of.
And I don't think that there was it wasn't frustration. It was probably more so sadness. It just felt sad to leave. And then we also felt like we were shorting the next group of people we went to. It's like we felt like we squeezed them in, and now we have them on separate days.
Right.
And that just allows more time and more memories, really.
Absolutely. So it's so important to communicate your plans, communicate any expectations that come along with that, communicate your travel plans, where you're going, what days, and what that looks like. That's so important.
Yeah.
I think the other thing to really talk about is family dynamics. The holidays bring about, you're around a lot of family and clearly understand that that brings different dynamics, right?
Yep.
We all have that one family member, right? And so it's important though, because it could bring up hard feelings. Maybe there's a past and maybe that's a trigger of whatever a relationship that wasn't maybe what you wanted it to be.
Sure.
But being around that person, so having those conversations in advance to know, like, okay, hey, Aunt Susie's going to be there. And, in the past, we've had difficulties.
Yeah.
So that I know as a spouse that, okay, hey, hey, I've got your back. And,
Yeah. That just reminded me, I heard somebody say just yesterday, they were talking about boundaries too for family gatherings. And I think it is good to let your significant other know, just like you were saying, right, Ryan, right? Like, hey, let's not talk about this. In this example, they said like, hey, someone new was coming into the family and they said, hey, Grandpa was a war vet and this is a really sensitive topic. We are not going to talk about, we're not going to talk about serving. We're not going to talk about war. Like, I know it's going to be tempting to go there, but we're not going to talk about it. So what are those sensitive areas that just maybe wouldn't be so well served to bring up around a Christmas dinner?
That's a great point. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, the second point for you today is to communicate. And you might be starting to sense the theme for today, but this is on the topic of gifts. So get on the same page with your gifts, set a budget, and talk about it. And I think we do pretty well with that.
Yeah, I'm the guilty one here.
Well, I wasn't going to throw you under the bus here on our show.
I tend to get caught up in things and yeah.
So I want to share with our listeners what we do. I am pretty meticulous with like keeping track of things. And so what has worked for us is I just keep a little notebook, and thank goodness like our kids have not found the notebook, but I keep a little notebook, and every year I write down who we plan on giving gifts to and then what the budget is. And I actually keep the previous year's list. And then once I've transferred it, then I just, shred that list, throw it away. But what that does is it allows us to be really strategic with, these are the people we plan on giving gifts to. And then let's say we have, your family, we do a drawing and it's, a $50 budget. Then I write on that list, like this person 50, this person 25, et cetera, et cetera. That way, as sales come up, as things come up, because it can be really tempting in the moment to be like, oh my gosh, so-and-so would love this, and then just buy it.
Yeah,
but if you don't have that budget predetermined, but to go back to my notebook and be like, oh, well, we have, for the teacher gifts and for this and that friend gifts, we have X amount budgeted. And also these are the people, because also in the moment you can get really carried away or see a deal. Sometimes I'm kind of tempted, like I'll see something, especially if it's before our list is made. Like with my company, we had a big holiday sale, and it's so tempting to be like, I'm just going to buy a bunch of these and not even know who they're going to go to. And that ends up just being kind of a money pit because they're not intentional purchases. So going through and writing out who are you giving gifts to? I know this sounds so simple, but writing it down, and then what do you anticipate spending per person, and then adding that up and seeing if that budget fits in with what your family budget is.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to put yourself in debt for the holidays.
Right.
I mean, it's a joyful time, but you don't want to be paying for it in January, February, the rest of next year. So we stay pretty close to that budget once it's set. And that, it's still every year I add it up and I'm like, gosh, this is so much. But like it keeps us in line because it's written down. I know it would be more if we were just willy-nilly buying stuff.
For sure.
So, so anyways, that's what we do. And then we usually have that conversation starting around Black Friday, but it's early December. There's still plenty of time to have that conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Don't be afraid of that. That's been so great. Again, I'm the person that probably would just go whatever, just do
shop
whatever.
with your heart.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Even though normally you do investments and financial planning. That's not typically you, but at the holidays,
all
bets are off.
Something happens. I think it's also important though to communicate the kinds of gifts. I think. Guys, if you're sick of getting neckties every year, maybe have the conversation. Like, hey, I don't really wear neckties. I don't really like neckties. But, to talk about that's been a big shift for us. Mm-hmm. I'd say probably over this last year, 2 years of really kind of, getting away from the things.
Yeah.
And really shifting more to investing in experiences together. Mm-hmm. We did that for our kids last year, and I mean, don't get me wrong, it still costs money. It's not like we'll get into this in a second here, but you know, we invested in concert tickets, we invested in Monster Jam tickets, which it was awesome.
It was awesome.
Even if you don't like monster trucks, it's still awesome.
Bring your earplugs though. It was loud.
It was
but
super
it was
loud.
So much fun.
It was super loud, and the parking garage after was also equally entertaining.
Yeah. It was a full show.
That's a whole different story. But it was super fun. And then, you know, even for nieces and nephews, you know, we invested in experiences for them, and they absolutely had an amazing time. We invested like axe throwing for them. And they were like, this is so awesome.
Yeah. And you know what was cool about that? So they live in Billings. So we Googled like, hey, you know, axe throwing places. And we have one nephew out there and two nieces. We had gotten them 3 separate certificates. So 3 different like ID numbers for it, and emailed them all separately, thinking they would probably be, you know, too cool to like go together, and because they're all high schoolers and college, and they would want to go separately. Well, we actually got a picture a month or so later, and it was our nephew, our 2 nieces, their mom and dad, and then one of the other uncles. So 6 of them went together, and they were like, had the best time. And they sent all these photos, and they were, you know, sent us their bullseye axe throw pictures. And I just thought, wow, what a cool memory. Not only did the siblings go together, but the mom and dad and then an uncle, they all went and had this really sweet time, and they'd never been there before. And they were like, we're definitely going back. Like, this is so fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
And really, like, I don't know about, you know, you, our listener, but I don't really remember what I got last year. Well, I do remember I got a pair of AirPods and I lost them 2 weeks ago, and it's very sad. But like, the point is, things come and go.
Right.
Look, I don't even have my gift from last year anymore. And if you ask our kids, well, our kids, you know, had the experiences, but 2 Christmases ago, I don't know that they would be able to remember we got them. It actually could even be at the Goodwill by now too. You know, that
could be.
I feel like we see that where they're cleaning out the room, and you're like, oh, that was like your most wanted Christmas present, and now it's in the donate pile, you know? So Ryan, I think on that note of maybe one way that you can bring more joy into your holiday season is through those intentional gifts that aren't just going to be another material item that comes and goes, but something that really is going to add value to your family, to your life, to your relationships. And in that light, I have done some research for our listeners. I have 36 gift ideas.
Get your pens ready.
So this, some of these come from Becoming Minimalist, and others I've added in. So we'll have some links for you. But some of these have been like our tried and true ideas. So it's a whole list. I counted it. There are 36 ideas. And really the point of this is gift for you, the listener, to make your stress, you know, a little bit less with your gifts, and give you some creative ideas that are going to add value to the recipient. So without further ado, I'm going to start reading my list.
All right. Do it.
Chime in, Ryan, if you have things to add. So Ryan already mentioned this, concert tickets. We went to Ed Sheeran concert last year in Minneapolis. It was not last year. Oh my gosh, this year's been a blur. In August. But it was our daughter's last year's Christmas present, which we bought super far in advance. So I think we bought it in November, gave it to her in December, and then she got to go in August. And that was just really fun. But it doesn't have to be a big fancy trip. We just went to an elementary school concert, and it was free and it was super fun. But a lot of the local colleges have concerts, a play ticket. We went to the Addams Family at, I don't know if it was at the University of Sioux Falls?
University of Sioux Falls.
And I think our tickets were less than $20 a person. So maybe it's going and finding some local community ad theater tickets to get, you know, for you and your spouse. Movie passes. Now those are a little more expensive, but if you get popcorn and drinks, you know, it can be more, but it would be fun. Disc golf. I added this one in there. What about getting a set of disc golf gifts? I think they're discs, you know, less than $10 a disc. Right. And then the courses are free. Yeah. And just making, you know, a little certificate saying like, hey, we're going to learn how to play disc golf in the spring. You know, there you go. Pickleball. We've gotten super into that. You can get a starter racket for a 2-pack of starter rackets for like $20 at, you know, Walmart.
Yeah,
the wood ones, I think, are $20. If you want like the composite ones, those are more. But you can get some beginner rackets. And I think, even in our community, I think if you join the local pickleball association, they give you a free lesson. So that would be a super fun gift idea. And it would be a skill that you can do with your spouse or your family or a whole family plays. Right. Okay, so those are experiences. What about classes? So community ed classes. Our city has a ton of classes. I'm actually teaching a few in January about essential oils. And I wasn't even thinking of it when I put this in here, but I was like, oh my gosh, these classes are so affordable. You can go to a class and learn a skill for $20, $25. They have pottery classes, they have drawing classes, they have woodworking, gardening, all these different classes. That would be a super fun date, but that could be a gift. Sign them up, show that thoughtfulness and get that, printed out and show them what you're doing. A painting class where they coach you through it. You do not have to be a painter to do this. Ryan, didn't we do a class like this? Or maybe I did it and gave you a gift.
Yeah,
I think
you
I
gave
gave
it
you
to
a
me
gift.
as a gift. Yeah.
Our daughter and I went to a class and we did that. So, but you don't have to be an artist to do this. There's actually a celebrator that owns an art studio in the Western Mall, and she teaches classes like that. So, maybe it's a gift certificate and make a fun date night of it.
Absolutely.
A cooking class. We did that, downtown. There was a place called, I think there still is, Plum's Cooking. We did a cooking class there.
Yeah.
And
it actually was more of an eating class.
It was.
Which was awesome.
It was, it was really good.
Like they cook it for you and they just show you how to cook it. So that was super awesome.
We were supervising the operation.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Yeah.
I like that.
Dance lessons. We've done that.
Yeah, this is super fun.
I think in Sioux Falls, there used to be a private company, but now I think maybe the Shrine does that down to the Shriners, but they have dance classes where you can go take a lesson, learn how to swing dance or jitterbug, and then there's a dance at the end.
Yeah.
Super fun.
Yeah.
Super fun. Sports, college sports, go to a local, volleyball game or a football game, get some tickets. They're not terribly expensive. Online, you can find a master's class. You can take a master's class on anything. Bless the internet in this day of technology. I just took it was like a self-branding class through the masterclass program online. Yeah. And, you can find coupon codes. Some of them are even free, but some kind of a master's class, you could give that as a skill to your spouse. I just took a kombucha class at my chiropractor's office, and you could do a little starter kit. It's the tea bag, it's organic sugar, it's a jar, probably less than $10. You can make a whole kombucha starter set and get the thing that the bacteria is called a SCOBY. So you'd have to get a starter SCOBY. We're probably going to have some baby SCOBYs. So if someone needs one,
kind of gross looking.
It looks like mold. It's really weird, but it's healthy probiotics, symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast, SCOBY.
Nice.
Anyways, just throwing out ideas, people. Take it or leave it. Take it or leave it. What about time gifts, Ryan? So giving the gift of babysitting, house cleaning, organizing. Maybe you get them car wash coupons, a date night out, manicure, pedicure. What about memberships? A zoo membership, children's museum, a theme park. We have a place in town called Thunder Road. Get some go-kart tickets. An art museum. And some of them, I know in our city, some art museums, you don't even have to pay to go to them.
Right.
So in that case, maybe you write a certificate and say, hey, we're going to do a date day, or you're going to do a day out. Maybe you're giving it to your son or your daughter, an art day. And that includes a gift certificate to a coffee shop or a dessert shop or an ice cream shop. And you make a fun little event of it. A science museum. Here we have the pavilion and the Kirby Science Center. Or here's an idea, a state park pass.
Oh, yeah.
That's a gift that would last the whole summer. I think, what was our state park pass, like $32 or $35 like for the whole summer.
Right.
And they can go and explore and think of the memories.
Yeah.
Okay, consumables, fruit basket, flowers, chocolates, get some gourmet chocolates, go to the World Market. Here's an idea, a cheese and cracker board. Pro tip, Aldi, the store Aldi, Ryan?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I'm there all the time.
Cheese ever.
Yeah.
Gourmet cheese, we're talking $2-3 a block. Mm-hmm. Amazing. Yeah. There you go. Pro tip. Coffee beans, coffee gift cards, do like a coffee gift set. Or here's another idea. Speaking of coffee, during the pandemic, we did an Airbnb experience. So the Airbnb where you go and rent houses, you can go and book an experience.
Yeah.
Ryan and I did a date night in Mexico City. Only we were in our house. but we were taking a coffee class in Mexico City.
Yeah.
Through Airbnb. They told us all the supplies to get. We had limes, we had lemons to kind of like cleanse the palate, coffee beans, we had a pour over coffee carafe, and we had all this stuff. And we had the best instructor from his family's coffee shop in Mexico City.
Yeah, super
It was
cool.
incredible.
Yeah.
And I think it was like $15 a person,
Right.
and then our supplies. So an Airbnb experience. What about charity? Giving a gift in somebody's honor to charity. So we tithe to our home church, Celebrate, but over and above that, we do a lot of sponsorships. We have 3 sponsored children, 2 through Food for the Hungry, 1 through World Vision. And I know both of those places, World Hope International would be another great one, founded by Dr. Joanne Lyon, who's tied in with the Wesleyan denomination, great organization as well. But all of those, I believe you can do things like, send a chicken, send a donkey, send a goat to a child in need. And that allows their family to get the produce from that animal. So like a chicken would produce eggs that they could sell, but then also eventually, the offspring and then meat from that chicken as well. So you could do something like that. And then a lot of those places you can actually print off, I've done this before, where you can print off a card and it will say, Michelle and Ryan have given a chicken in your name in whatever country it goes to. So charities, I feel like this time of year, we're getting a ton of letters from every charity we've ever given to. So give a gift in somebody's name and honor. That would be a long-lasting, a legacy type gift. And then last group of ideas here, DIYs. Do not underestimate the budget saving power of a DIY. I was crunching some numbers, Ryan, for a sugar scrub. I found one online for $28 just to see what they're selling for. And you can make a sugar scrub with brown sugar, some coconut oil, some essential oils for like $2. Cute little glass jar, label.
Nice.
I mean, $5 max. You could do a hot chocolate blend and a little tag on it, some room sprays, essential oil candle, just save up old yogurt jars. We're doing that right now. We're going to make little candles in upcycled yogurt jars. Just for dollars an item.
Yeah.
Last couple of ideas, a macrame wall hanging or like a wreath. I made a wreath out of, my cousin had gone to one of the craft stores and gotten all these ornaments on sale. And then we hot glued all these ornaments together in the shape of a wreath and made this beautiful wreath that they sell for like $50, $60, $70, $80 in the store. And we made for $5.
Yeah.
So just some ideas to get your brain flowing. And then as a little guiding principle, Ryan, I found this from the Dave Ramsey Company. They said that if you're trying to cut back on gift giving, try the 4-gift rule. And here's how it goes. Something they want, something they need, something to wear, something to read. Something they want, something they need, something to wear, something to read. It's simple and it's practical.
Yeah.
Or even 3 gifts. I've heard this before, want, need, read, or want,
That's
need,
great.
wear.
Yeah.
So, if it's your kids and you typically get them a lot, maybe scaling back. I think our kids, we've scaled back with our kids is usually just a gift or 2.
Right.
I hope that's helpful for our listeners.
Yeah, absolutely. So good. Hopefully you got your list ready.
Yeah, let us know. Send us an
Yeah.
email if that was helpful. If you are inspired by it, I'd love to hear that.
That's awesome. And our last tip for a less stressful holiday.
I'm doing my drum roll.
Yeah. Communication. No, but Christmas brings the holidays brings a lot of things. There's Christmas concerts, there's recitals, there's Christmas cards, there's lights, there's decorations, there's all of these things. And I think it's so important to communicate and to get things on the calendar. Right? So that you know when things are, what you're doing. I think it's just so important. Get your calendars out. And then also, I think, make plans to do these things together. Or find out, like, okay, maybe you'll do this, I'm going to do this. But
like what? What's an example?
I think an example that we had, I think this started in 2020.
That year.
Yeah, that year. It was our Christmas card. We're one of those people that still write Christmas letters.
Old school.
I
can't, you guys, my mom she has this whole notebook she's made for me for every family Christmas letter she's ever written. And I feel like I can't break it.
Yeah. So
Because it's like, it's kind of sweet though. It gives a recap of our year and then our kids can save it.
yeah. So
Anyways.
2020, there was a few things going on in the world, and it was kind of a stressful time. We had just talked, and I told Michelle that I'll gladly write the Christmas letter.
Huge burden off my shoulders.
Yeah.
Huge.
I did. I think there's a couple of things that I want to share with this.
Can I also tell you, well, I don't know what you're going to share, but I just need people to know that I usually hear it's like crickets. Nobody really messages about our card that they get. It was like our phones were off the hook. Like we got so many messages back. Ryan wrote the most incredible, most hilarious, most well-read and well-received Christmas letter, I think, ever in the history of letters.
I don't know.
It was a gem.
But I think the important thing is when you work together on things, right? I think it's important to, as a husband and wife in a relationship, to acknowledge that it might be different.
Sure.
That
because I had to surrender
you
style.
did, and it was very different.
It was.
My card was full of humor, full of a lot of things. But it's important to have that conversation and be, if you're going to tackle this together, right? And if you're going to work through the holidays together, I think part of it's acknowledging that, hey, my spouse might do this different than me.
Sure.
That's okay.
Actually, I would say it was even better than what I had done before. So I surrendered that and I trusted you with the process. And I was like, wow, that actually, not only did I take it off my plate, it actually kind of turned out really pretty good.
Yeah. I'm not taking credit for it, but it's, but again, it's a great realization to, hey, my spouse is going to do this year. And that's a huge burden. That's a huge burden lifted from me.
Yeah.
I'm not tackling it all solo.
Sure.
I'm not doing all the holiday stuff, whether it's cooking, whether it's wrapping. I'm a terrible gift wrapper, but I'll throw my hand in and help.
Yeah.
It's terrible, but it's a lot of tape.
You do fine.
Yeah, it's a lot of tape.
You do fine, Ryan. You do fine.
But the other thing is we've talked about gifts, right? The other thing that we've done is we've done it together. Mm-hmm. It's a shopping experience. I remember being at Target in the middle of the night, or morning, I should say.
Yeah.
Like 2 a.m. And
because they open so early now.
Yeah. We were getting Christmas gifts, and
I don't know why.
I don't know why either, but they were playing Christmas music and I felt the need to sing along. And it brought joy to a lot of people around us.
Yeah, totally sleep deprived at that point.
That was just ridiculous.
That was fun. Yeah.
But we did it together, and I think that's what's super important is as all these things come up, to be on the same page, to do it together.
Yeah.
To work on your list together.
Yeah.
It's so important.
That's so good.
Our 3 tips and tricks for the holidays: communicate, communicate, communicate.
Very good.
Yep.
Ryan, thank you. We hope that this brings you more joy, less stress. We never even mentioned the fact that I am wearing a different hat today.
No.
Did you notice?
Yeah, that's really nice.
Oh, okay. I kind of forgot it was on my head. I was trying to bring more joy to the show and offer the spirit of fun, and holiday shopping does not have to be stressful.
Right.
Holidays, dynamics. We hope that this has been helpful. So thank you for joining us today on the Celebrate Marriage Cast. If you'd like more help or resources for your marriage, join us at celebrate.church/marriage. Make sure that you subscribe, give us a great review, and share this with a friend, and have a great week.